Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about Kahoot.com and how to use it for your ESL classes. If you haven't seen my video about using Quizlet, I encourage you to go and check it. So during my lessons, I use Quizlet.com to work with vocabulary, mostly vocabulary, and also for pre-teaching stage of my skills-based lessons. But when it comes to revising and practicing grammar, I normally use Kahoot.com. So I use it for revision, I use it to practice grammar material. For the starters, I will use my existing Kahoot account. So we have several options here. We have My Kahoots and we have Discover. So before I go to My Kahoots, I want to show you the Discover option. Just imagine that this is your search engine. You can search Kahoot sets on any topic. Let's say you want to practice present simple versus present continuous. Here we go. Of course, there are many different Kahoot sets. Not all of them are of high quality. You need to choose carefully. Let's go to this one. There might be mistakes, but if you're really in a hurry, you don't have much time, you can pick one of those. And the good thing about this is that you can edit it. For example, so I found a Kahoot. Let's say I want this Kahoot. I can play it immediately, or I can duplicate it. Or I can't. No, I can. I can duplicate it. So after I've duplicated it, it will appear in my Kahoot list. So as you see, so it took me straight to my Kahoot list, but I can also click here and go to my Kahoots, and I have here the duplicate of present simple versus present continuous. And here I can edit it if I don't like something. I can change it. Let's have a look at it. So as you see, we have the question, and then we have 4 options. Is leaving, leaves. Oh, actually we have only 2 options. Is leaving and leaves. Let's say I wanted to make more challenging. For example, I know that many of my students either use MSR without ing or ing without MSR. So I can write is leave and leaving. Also, maybe I think that 20 seconds is not enough and my students need more time to think about it. I can make it 60 seconds then. And we're good. Note that I will need to change the timing on all other questions as well. Also, if I think that having 20 questions for this Kahoot is way too much, I can edit them. I can just delete some questions. And once I'm done, I can save it. So this is one way of getting yourself a Kahoot set. Simply going to Discover, entering your topic, then duplicating it, and then editing it upon request. Now let's see how we create our own Kahoots. So we, as you see, you press on the, so you click on this plus button, and then you have options here. You have the quiz one, you have a jumble, and you have a survey. So the one I use most often is quiz, although jumble is also really interesting. And I have never used survey, but I think this might, I don't know whether this would be useful for the ESL classes. Maybe you can organize some discussion and use it there. I haven't thought of it yet. So let's have a look at the quiz. Okay, so here we have to add a title. Let's say we go with conditionals. This one is required. What I usually do, I just write hashtag English, or you can write hashtag ESL. Then here, I have never used this one, image library by Getty Images, or uploading your image. Usually I just don't have time for these fancy things, but if you do, by all means go and upload some images and make it more fun and more interesting. So my Kahoot visibility for everyone. Sorry, language English, and I think we're good. If you want to edit the name of the set later, you always have the edit button. Now let's add our first question. So, conditionals. Let's say I want to have a gap fill sentence. So I say, let's make it more challenging. So obviously we want them to put them in the right form. This is the first conditional. What we want ideally is, if she helps me tonight, I'll finish my work. And here we have got 4 options for the answers. Obviously 3 of those are going to be wrong, 1 right. But in different Kahoots, you might want to have several correct options. For example, let's see. Can we have a second conditional here? If she helped me tonight, no, it would be like, I would finish my work, but it's unrealistic. But let's say I want to stick to the first conditional, so I will not offer any second conditional options here. And I'll have help and finish. Which is obviously not right. Then I can have help will finish. You know, once you work with the students, you already know what kind of mistakes they make and you can anticipate them. And then once they've answered the questions, you can actually discuss their mistakes with them and explain why this or that option is wrong. Actually, we can have 2 right answers here. We can take the long form and the short one. So here we have to tick our correct options because obviously Kahoot doesn't know which one is right. You need at least 2 questions to have a Kahoot set. Again, notice that here you can change the duration. You can make it longer or shorter. The minimum recommended duration for a question is 20 seconds. So I usually have between 20 and 60 seconds, depending on my group level and depending on how difficult the question is. Now let's have it again. Anticipating my students' mistakes. I know that very often they just don't notice the question mark. Oops. I'm using Grammarly, and I don't know why, but whenever I'm creating a Kahoot set and I make a mistake or a typo, I can't just click on it and change it or just copy paste something. It gets out of hand, so you'd better just follow whatever suggestion there is and then continue with your work. Here we go. And again, so obviously it should be will you go to the party if she invites you, and let's take this. Okay, that's what I was talking about. You should make sure that the correct answer isn't always the same. Yeah, and then so of course copy paste is a great help. Now we've got a Quizlet set, which we can play immediately, which we can share, which I normally don't, or edit it, or just choose I'm done. I will post a short video of how my students are playing Kahoot. For now, I want to show you the preview mode. So you go to play. And you can choose the team mode if you don't have enough devices in the class. But I normally use the classic mode because the majority of my students have smartphones and I just use my mobile hotspot to connect them to the internet. Now, one thing, probably the only thing that I don't like about Kahoot is this sound. And not many of my students do. So what I usually do before we start playing, I just turn the sound off. That's it. So what happens here? Oh, we didn't go to the preview mode, did we? Right, so what your students should do at this point is go to kahoot.it, not com, but IT, using their mobile phones or tablets or laptops or whichever. Then they enter this game pin and their nickname. Now this is the fun part. My students sometimes spend quite a bit of time trying to use the username they like most. And they also add all sorts of emojis. So it's like in Kahoot, you can be whoever you want. Then, okay, go. And here you will see the number of registered players. So I have one registered player here, which is me. Yeah, Kahoot tells me that my nickname might be naughty, which is not. Oh, so see, if you don't like your student's nickname, you just click like this, mark it as naughty, and get rid of it. I do not want to do it, so I go to start. Yes, I am. So your students see this on the screen, and then they see the options. On their device, they have to choose the right color. In this case, the correct one is the green one. So on their device, they click the green one. Okay, so I'm alone here, but when there are several of them, they will see this sign. They will know that they're the first place. And what matters here, not only the correct, like whether you choose the correct answer or not, but also how quickly you do that. Your points depend on that too. So we click next. So here if there were several people, we would normally see the list, and we would see their points, and we would see who's first, who's second, who's third. And we'll just go next to the final question. And okay, let me make a mistake here. And I like these small messages that appear on their screens. Encouraging, joking. This is additional source of language learning and also encouragement. For example, it says, don't worry, nobody's perfect. And I like my students to see things like that, to learn it, both in terms of their language development and their self-development. Okay. And what I would normally do here, I would discuss this question when there are several students say, okay, who made this mistake? And then they either say, oh, I just misclicked it. Or they say, oh, no, I know that it was the wrong one. And I say, please explain, why can't we have you go? And they would normally say, well, because it's a question, or if they don't know, I might ask someone else to do it, or I will just explain it myself. And here, again, I'm alone here, but if there were many people, it would normally show the top 3 positions, the gold medal, the silver medal, and the bronze medal. And then you can play this game again, or you can go to a new Kahoot. I also use I use Kahoot to revise things, especially before their tests. I will show you my unit revision test. For example, here I have Focus 2 Unit 5 review, or I have English in Mind 5, Units 13 to 14, and so on and so forth. And I have tenses, and then you can insert the link. There are many options. These are the main ones that I use, but by all means feel free to go, to explore, to see what you can do with that. And now I would like to show you how to get a Kahoot account. I will simply sign out from this one and try to sign up with a different account. And I want to do it as a teacher. I'll sign up with my Google account. You can do it with your Facebook account or with email. What's wrong? Okay. full name. And we're in. We have several options here. I've never tried the paid ones. I'll just go with the free one. And we're here. So I can start searching. I can start creating my own Kahoot sets. And there are also some trending ones. Usually, also during the holidays, for example, Easter is coming. You might want to use something about Easter, Easter traditions, and lots of other things. So this is a great website, and I strongly recommend that you go and explore it. This was all for today. By all means, check using the Quizlet video, and also check my blog for the skills-based lesson and for the language-based lessons. In the language-based lessons, you can use Kahoot for your controlled practice lessons.